It's late. You're in bed. You picked up the phone to check the time. That was 40 minutes ago. You know what time it is. You're still scrolling. You set it face down on the blanket, a little proud of yourself. 10 seconds later, your thumb flips it back over. You didn't decide to do that. Your hand just did it, the way it breathes. And earlier today, you felt it buzz in your pocket and you reached for it and there was nothing there. No message. The buzz wasn't real. Your own body is starting to hallucinate the thing it's hooked on. You'll touch this phone around 2,500 times before tomorrow night. Heavy users, double that. And before you say, not me, everyone says, not me, then loses a whole evening they can't account for the next morning. So here's the thing that should bother you. You are the newest model in a line of creatures that walked away from saber-toothed cats, ice ages, and a planet that spent 2 million years trying to kill them. And tonight that creature is getting beaten by a 6-inch slab of glass with no arms, no legs, and no plan. It was never a fair fight, though. You got set up. Let me show you by who and how and why you didn't stand a chance. We have to go back 100,000 years, to the body you're still wearing. Picture a morning out there. You wake up on hard ground, cold, and already hungry, because there is no breakfast unless you walk out and find it. No fridge, no shop, no next meal promised to you ever. Today, like every single day, your whole job is to not starve. So you walk and you walk. You move through tall grass and thorn scrub, scanning, reading the dirt, and most of what you find is nothing. An empty bush, a dry creek, tracks heading the wrong way. Hours of nothing. And then, low in a thorn bush, you catch it. A flash of red. Berries. Feel what that does to you because you've still got it tonight. A jolt. A lean forward. Your whole body wakes up and pulls toward that bush before you've tasted a single thing. You haven't eaten. You just saw the chance. And the seeing is the part that lit you up. That feeling kept your family alive. The ancestor who got comfortable, who felt full and decided to stop looking, missed the berries, missed the honey, missed the herd moving through at dawn, and starved out of the story. The one who couldn't sit still, who always thought, let me check past that next ridge, ate. That restless, never quite satisfied one is your however many greats grandparent, and the itch they lived on is the itch running you right now. We have a name for the jolt. It's a chemical called dopamine, and almost everything you've heard about it is wrong. People call it the feel-good chemical. It isn't. Dopamine doesn't do the feeling good. It does the chase. It's the thing that yanked you toward the berry bush, not the thing that enjoyed the berries once they were in your mouth. It runs your wanting. It barely turns up for your having. And it's sneakier than that. Dopamine doesn't fire hardest when you win. It fires hardest on maybe. A bush that always has fruit gets boring, and your brain stops bothering. A bush that's empty 4 times out of 5, but on the 5th is loaded. That one your brain will never let you walk past. The uncertainty is the hook. Reliable is forgettable. Might be is unforgettable. Out on the grass, that was perfect. It aimed you at exactly the food worth chasing. Hold on to it, though, because in a minute, some very clever people are going to use that exact wiring to take your evening, your sleep, and a real slice of your one short life. One more thing about who you used to be. You never survived alone. Nobody did. You lived in a small band. 30, 40, maybe 150 people at the absolute most. Because 150 is about all a human brain can hold as real people. And inside that band, other people weren't entertainment. They were the difference between living and dying. Picture the fire at night. You're not just keeping warm, you're listening. Who's angry at who? Who shared meat today and who kept it? Who's rising, who's slipping, who's getting quietly pushed toward the edge of the group? Because if the band turned on you, if you ended up outside that circle of firelight, you didn't sulk about it. You died. Alone, cold, in the dark, fast. So your brain wrote a rule it has never once deleted. News about other people is survival. Drop everything. Listen. Always know where you stand. Now carry all of that back into your dark bedroom. A restless brain that craves the maybe and treats other people like life and death. And then hand it to a few people whose actual full-time job is to keep it pulling. Here's the trick they built it on, and they've known it for 70 years. Reward an animal every single time it does something and it stays calm. Reward it at random, sometimes yes, mostly no, no pattern at all, and it goes frantic. They'll press a random reward lever until they ignore food and water. The not knowing is what hooks. We made a machine out of that. A lever, some lights, and a payout that lands at random, just often enough to keep a hand moving. We call it a slot machine, and we built entire cities in the desert off people who could not stand up and walk away from one. Then, we shrank it down and slid it into your pocket. Watch your own hand. You drag the screen down, it spins, and most of the time, nothing. Then, a like, a message, a number that climbed, a little red dot. Your maybe berry, paid out at random, just often enough. You think you're checking your phone, you're pulling a lever. That pull to refresh you do without even noticing, 100 times a day, at the bus stop, in the lift, on the toilet until your legs go numb. Someone drew that to feel like a slot lever in a meeting on purpose. You stand and wait for a kettle to boil, and you cannot get through 20 seconds of nothing without reaching for the machine. That isn't weakness. That's a forager who can't stop checking bushes, handed a bush that pays out in light and sound. And they baited it with the one thing your brain cannot walk past: people. Right now, your screen can show you a stranger eating breakfast in a country you will never visit, and your thumb will stop dead to watch. Some old part of you has decided that person is in your tribe, that you need to know what they're doing, exactly the way you needed to know about the faces around that fire. Your brain genuinely can't tell the 40 people who used to mean survival from the 40,000 strangers doing a little dance for a number today. You've felt the other end of it too. The dinner where everyone at the table, you included, drifts down into their own little glowing rectangle instead of looking at each other. A whole table of tribe animals, together, completely alone. The wiring that screamed, "Stay close to your people," got quietly rerouted into watching people you'll never meet. But your ancestors always had one mercy you don't. Everything ran out. The berry bush got stripped bare and you moved on. The basket filled. The hunt ended, the herd was gone, the light died, and everyone walked back to the fire and slept. There was always a last berry, a bottom, a moment when the looking was simply finished. Then, not long ago, somebody deleted the bottom. A designer built the infinite scroll, the thing that quietly loads more the instant you hit the end, so you never hit the end. He has gone on the record saying he regrets it. His own words, more or less. It's like sprinkling cocaine all over the screen. The feed has no last berry, the basket never fills. That one signal your whole body sits and waits for. The empty bush that says, "Stop, you're done, go home, that signal's gone now." So you don't go home. You lie in the dark, reaching into a bush built to grow back faster than you can pick. And here's the part that actually hurts. Wanting and liking run on two separate systems, and only the wanting got hijacked. So you pull and pull and pull, and the wanting screams the entire time, while the part of you that's meant to feel good barely shows up for work. You spend an hour starving at a table that never serves the food. You come out of it the way you always do. Dry eyes, dead thumb. That flat, scooped-out feeling sitting in your chest? Not full. Emptier than when you started. You went looking for something and came back with nothing except, now the hour is gone and so is the sleep. And the only thing on earth that swears it can fix that hollow feeling is the same glowing rectangle that just dug it. It's late. You're in bed. The room is dark, except for the glow sitting on your face. You are a world-class hunter, running the finest food-finding mine that 2 million years could build, dropped into a field of fake berries that never runs out, planted by people who studied exactly how you hunt, and made very sure you would never find the edge. The bush isn't real. You know that by now, and your thumb is already moving.